super friends, and welcome to another episode of Superhero Saturday, where we talk about the arts of superheroes, storytelling, and so much more. My name is Annie, and today we're going to talk a little bit about superheroes and a little bit about storytelling and a lot about putting them together and being creative and coming up with something new. But first, we have a bit of an announcement. As of this recording, it's been approximately 2 years that I've been regularly putting up superhero-related content on this channel, although some of it has been more superhero-related than others. But more importantly, we are reaching a milestone, which is 100 subscribers. Woo! If you are a new subscriber, we sincerely thank you for joining us, and gosh, seriously, thank you. And for old subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, compared to some of the other bigger channels that might be out there on the internet, in the game of social media and YouTubing and all this kind of new world fangled nonsense, hitting a 100 subscriber milestone might seem a little bit small, a little bit humble, but it's a big deal because the growth in this industry is usually exponential. So the first time that you add a digit to the end of your subscribers list is a big deal. Kind of going along those lines, I would like to do kind of a milestone marker video for this 100 subscribers thing. So stay tuned to the end of this video and you'll hear how you can participate in my 100 subscriber video. Spoiler alert, it might involve turning you into a superhero. Actually, that's kind of the whole video. You probably saw the thumbnail. Anyway, we are going to go on to our main content for today, which is an idea I kind of came up with last night when I was hanging out with my friends, who are amazing and awesome, and I love them so much. But some of them are kind of like me and are kind of, got that superheroic vibe going on. So my lovely friend Aminta, who I will put a picture up here, has given me permission to turn her into a superhero and draw her up a little character design diagram. She did give me a couple of parameters that we'll be working with, and that is we are going to stick with the name Lil Monster, which she really likes. We're going to stick with the color scheme of purple and black mostly, although I did end up adding a little bit of light blue, as you'll see in a minute. And we have her superpowers, which are invisibility, super speed, and claws. Plus, she wanted to go with kind of like a dark superhero vibe, like maybe an anti-hero, more along like maybe the Daredevil or maybe even Punisher level of superhero. So we're gonna kind of lean into that when we do this character design. So let's get started. As you can see on the screen here, I wanted to start off with making sure that I could really capture my friend Aminta's essence. So I decided to go with a basic secret identity type drawing first, just so I could get, her shape down, her style down, her colors down, and kind of like make it a companion to this superhero story. So I stole some pictures of her off of my camera reel and I kind of put them together and went with this little bit of a caricature design that turned her into one of my style comic book characters, kind of like layperson style vibes. She is a Gen Xer, so I decided to put her in kind of, her fairly typical outfit. She's got a cool jean jacket that I really like, and I gave her a purple shirt to kind of call us back to the purple that we're going to be putting into her superhero design. And she usually wears like skirts and tights and boots and that kind of thing. So I wanted to go ahead and get all of those colors worked out together and figure out how to draw her hair in a way that was representative of her actual hair. I experimented around with it a little bit and I think it turned out all right. I haven't done this style a lot before, but I've been experimenting with it and looking at different drawing tips and tutorials on Pinterest that I've been saving. So I just kind of threw that in there to see if it would work, and I kind of liked how it turned out, so there we go. Unfortunately, I sent this picture to her while I was mid-process, and she reminded me that she actually has tiny feet. So the feet are proportionally a little bit bigger than they are on real life Aminta, but we're gonna go ahead and move on from there because feet are hard to begin with, so we're just gonna go. And I was actually feeling very creative and confident in my abilities today because I actually haven't been able to do as much drawing and, you know, just playing around with the medium of digital art for a long time. But like I said, I have been hitting interesting drawing tips and stuff on my Pinterest board. So I've been internalizing, you know, via osmosis, the different like styles that I want to add into my own. So I did even colorful shading rather than my usual just black block shading in there. So she's actually got cool color tones, and the tights and everything I think actually came out really good. So I'm very proud of this piece, and I hope Aminta likes it as well. She said she does, so if she changes her mind, I can fix it later. So with that done, we have our base figured out, and it was time to move on to the actual drawing of the superhero. Again, like she said in the beginning, we wanted to really give her a dark, kind of scary vibe. Like, she's a superhero, but she's a superhero that the criminals are afraid of because they're not really sure quite how far she'll go in her pursuit of justice. So they're really afraid of her. And with her invisibility and super speed, that actually makes it really easy for her to just sneak up on a bad guy and whack him with her claws and just like be the little monster that's creeping around in the bag. So some of the costume elements I was thinking of while I was doing the initial drawing phase, the dry sketch phase, was that I kind of wanted her to have a mask that was kind of like a mask that you put on like this, so that you can't really see anything on her face except for her eyes and her hair coming out of the back. I don't know why, but this just kind of like gives me a little bit of a creepy vibe. You know, like when you go around in quarantine and someone's wearing a face mask and sunglasses on and you can't see their eyes and you can't see their mouth and you're not sure what's going on, what they look like, what's their like expression on their face, if they're happy or if they're frustrated or if they're mad, if they're gonna get you. You know, that kind of uncertainty is what I kind of wanted to incorporate in the mask. So I decided to make it kind of like, I would say akin to Batwoman, kind of similar to Batman as well. I gave her the pointy ear type things just to kind of emphasize the claw shapes that we would be putting into the rest of her costume. Similarly, I gave her claws that are kind of like super duper nail extensions, I want to say. They are kind of like extra long fingernails, and they make her fingers look really long. I hadn't quite decided if I wanted it to be like biologically extended fingers or whatever, but the claws are really sharp and long, and like her fingers are disproportionate to the rest of her body. And I thought that, again, that gave that a little bit of a creepy vibe because, you know, creepy things tend to be all out of sorts and they don't look quite right. So that would both enable her to have claws for a superpower. They'd be like super strong, super long fingernails and very, very accurate for fighting and combat and stuff like that, but also be a little bit more on the scary side than lots of primary colors and big happy smiles. I don't know. I also mimicked the long, kind of smooth arcing lines in her belt, which I just put kind of really basically around her waist, and her boots, which I pulled all the way up, made it thigh-high boots that are like pointy on the edges. They're still kind of like attached to her, I think. Like they're not like sticking out. They're not like pointy, gonna get you boots, because she is a super speedster. So she'd need to be able to be quick and efficient and streamlined to be able to go that fast. Sorry, now I'm just imagining her running like Naruto style. I didn't think about that. In this drawing, I did actually manage to get the proportions extraordinarily more correct than I could have anticipated. Like I said, Pinterest, you can learn all the time. You practice all the time, but if you don't have time to practice, you can look at stuff and keep learning and it'll get internalized into your brain, I promise you. So this is probably the best instance of foreshadowing that I've ever drawn. Like the claw coming out, I just had this vision of like whoosh, cutting across like this as being an action shot to really demonstrate her power, but also still being able to see the emblem on her chest, which is a pretty basic M shape for monster, little monster. And then we have like the, not quite a lightning bolt, but like a whoosh across the side of it, which could be a whoosh for speed or a whoosh like you got torn by the claws. And I did get her tiny little feet, although again with foreshortening, that was kind of more of the shape of the drawing that comes around like this and then comes down to a point. And then, like I said earlier, the black and purple are really good together. They do great. I did have to go for a little bit of a gray tone for the main like suit of the body, because it's really hard to shade anything if you want it to be just jet black. So usually I go with a dark gray, and from context clues we can assume that it's black. Then we don't have to deal with the outlines and stuff. And then the purple made a really bold statement for the mask and then for the boots. But I wanted to add a little bit of an extra color because you guys know me, I like to work in threes. So I stole the blue color from her jean jacket in the original drawing and put that for her claws, which makes them real sharp and pointy, and like maybe they're made of some kind of like metal that's like blued steel or something, and they're just gonna come out and get you. Plus it made it a nice contrast for the emblem on her chest. It was able to give the purple for a backdrop and then the sharp M at the front, which I thought really popped on her costume here. And then of course I felt very creative at this point and very proud of myself for being able to do all of these things that I've been thinking about wanting to practice on the page for a long time. So I wanted to try and play around with the background. As you can probably see in the time lapse here, I experimented with all sorts of colors and things and nonsense, but what I ended up with is a pretty dark background with like dark black near the top and then kind of glowing to the bottom, which came from the Speedster electricity blue that I put over the front of her. The movement lines that we've got whooshing across the page, and really what it's just representing is the speed of which she is approaching you to attack for this pose, and possibly even her shift from invisibility to visibility. Because if you're invisible and a speedster and you got claws, you're like sneaking around, and then whoosh, all of a sudden just right in your face, which is super cool and dramatic, and I think would be an excellent superhero power. All in all, I really like it, and I had such a good time on it, so I want to do it a lot more. And this is where you come in, super friends. What I would like to do for my 100 subscriber video is do kind of a community building collaboration type thing and turn you guys into superheroes as well. Because you guys are also my friends and you guys are also super, and I would like to put them together and make some awesome stuff. So if you would like to be part of this 100 subscriber video, go ahead and put a comment down below and then make sure to include these 3 things. Number 1, put down a name of some kind, whether that is your secret identity name or your superhero name or your supervillain name or some string of adjectives that you'd like me to come up with something for you. Number 2, put down your color scheme or combination. If you need some help deciding that, there is a couple of videos already on my channel that can help you with that. And number 3, your superpowers or your super technology or weapons or armor or whatever it is that makes you extraordinary. And I'll use that information to come up with a really cool character for you. Depending on the level of participation in this collaboration, I'm thinking that for the video, we will either put together just a compilation of all the different heroes that you guys submitted and, you know, shove them all in together so that we can see all of our work together in one video. Or I might divvy it up into a couple of different videos like this and spread them out over a little bit of time. Or if for some reason we hit 100 subscribers before this video finishes going up, then I'm going to need to figure some other thing to go on. Whatever ends up shaking out, I want to see what you guys have and I want to make something awesome with it. So go ahead and head on down to the comments below and submit your entry today. Also, thank you so much, Aminta, for participating in this and letting me play around with your character design. It has been way too much fun, and you're awesome. If you liked this video, go ahead and give us a big thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to support us even more, you can join the team by going over to Patreon and supporting us over there. If you want to see other superheroes that I've invented, go ahead and go on down to our website at www.fearless9.com, where you can buy my books of original superheroes called The Fearless 9 and read up on them. Thank you so much for watching, super friends, and we'll see you next week. I gotta figure out something to do at the end rather than just have a bunch of nonsense. Nope, I think I'm gonna be done there.